Have you ever wondered about how kids learn best these days? At the risk of sounding like a cranky old man, but with their heads in their smartphones all the time, do they even pick up a book anymore? And when they're in the classroom, how does a teacher maintain the attention of these super connected kids? And what can be done to capture their interest and promote student engagement? What's even more important is how are the teachers able to keep up with this technology revolution? Maybe the better question is, what are we doing to assist the teacher as we move forward with classroom technology?
Well, today we're thrilled to have a very special guest with us to help answer these thought-provoking questions. Chris Klein is a former teacher himself and previously worked at Smart Technologies and served as a vice president at LearnPad, an educational tablet developer. So Chris is no stranger to the classroom or to the technologies. Today, Chris will talk with us about the changes in today's classroom and how we can make the transition easier and more engaging for the students and, of course, for the teachers. I'm Clay Stalka.
And I'm Neil Weber. And welcome to the AV Meetup Coffee Break, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
So, Chris, you spent over 10 years in education. What made you move into the corporate world?
Well, I always had a knack for bridging the gap between the technical side of the house and the pedagogical side of the house. I found that I had a knack for helping others see how this technology could fit into their teaching, and I really enjoyed seeing those teachers bring new opportunities to their students by using that technology that they now understood better.
What does pedagogical mean?
Clay, come on, man. That refers to when a pedestrian wears goggles. Gosh, I thought you were supposed to be the smart one.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's actually both an art and a science to teaching. The art of teaching isn't something that can be taught in a classroom or by a college professor, but the science aspect of it, the nuts and bolts, that's what's known as the pedagogical side of it, the science or act of teaching.
All right, then. So, Chris, you've been involved in education technology for almost 20 years now. Now, I bet things have really changed quite a bit in that time.
Things have changed quite a bit, absolutely. But believe it or not, it's more interesting to look at all the things that haven't changed, the things that have remained constant. Teachers are still trying to do the best they can to make learning meaningful for their students, and a lot of the technology that's out there really just changes the medium of delivery, but not the core messaging.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying can be summarized by one of my favorite quotes. Any teacher that can be replaced by technology deserves to be.
Whoa, hey, that's a little harsh, isn't it?
No, it really isn't if you actually take a look at what I'm saying with that. It's actually more of a testimonial to the role of the teacher in the classroom. You can have a lot of great new tools, boxes, software, wires, fancy screens, and buzzwords, but in the end, the teacher is the person that brings all of that together in a cohesive manner for their students. They make sense out of the chaos, and their role in the classroom just can't be underestimated.
You know, truer words have never been spoken, Chris. So you mention all of these new things happening in the classrooms. What are some of the big changes that you see taking place?
Geez, gosh, there's so many. One of the biggest things I've been seeing a lot of lately sort of backs up what I was just talking about. There's really a pretty big shift going on right now towards experiential learning, really getting the students to get their hands dirty in the learning process, not just sitting in rows listening to the teacher lecture to them. This whole concept sort of kicked off with project-based learning, where students are really focused on solving a problem as opposed to filling out a worksheet. And now it's started to gather steam through things like the maker movement, with utilizing 3D printers, circuit boards, robotics courses, programming courses, and even things like Breakout EDU, where the teachers create challenges to help students find clues to open a series of locks on a wooden box to get to the prize inside, whatever that prize may be. We know that the real prize is the challenge and the learning process itself.
That sounds like those escape rooms that I see all over the country.
It's exactly like that. It's taking the whole idea of gamification and rapid prototyping and bringing it into the classroom without the students actually even realizing it. Allowing students to try different ideas with planned failures and a series of successes to help them not only gain the knowledge of what works, but also what doesn't work and why.
That sounds like a fun class that I'd like to be in, Chris. So what else have you seen that's changing the way education is being approached in today's classrooms?
Well, this is going to sound counterintuitive after having just talked about real and practical learning, working with your hands, but I'm going to go to the other end of the spectrum. And I actually see a pretty big push for virtual reality and augmented reality and how that's making a big impact on what's happening in the classroom now.
So virtual reality, like those goggles I bought for Clay for his birthday?
I love them, Neil.
I know. You were so excited.
I love watching him wear them, actually. But yeah, it's the same concept, but it's different content. Virtual reality in the classroom is being approached from lots of different angles, but no matter the methodology, it's meant to open the walls of the classroom for the students, to take them places that budget or time wouldn't allow. Virtual field trips have been one of the biggest early pushes in the VR content realm, taking students on tours of the Colosseum in Rome or the Great Wall of China, or even seeing the inside of a volcano is something that teachers have had a difficult time doing in the past. But as the content gets more robust, I think we'll start to see virtual reality being used as much more than just a novelty. Imagine a student, for example, being able to hold and manipulate a virtual beating heart in their hands for science class. Unfortunately, the cost versus benefit equation is pretty skewed right now. It's kind of hard to justify thousands of dollars for something that you only use once a month or less.
Yeah, I know it is. And do you think that better content would help that?
Oh, better content? Absolutely. Or lower cost. You have some people that are trying to make VR really happen in an affordable way. But remember, the consumer market and the K-12 space are totally different. Getting that really cool roller coaster content pack for your personal phone that slides into VR glasses is entertaining, but it still leaves a teacher trying to figure out how that can or could fit within their subject material. Curriculum should always drive the content, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's a really important point. So we've got practical and we've got virtual. Is there a third big change that you're seeing in schools, Chris?
Yeah, and it kind of ties in with the first two. I'm seeing a new landscape where there are more devices in the classroom than ever before. With the approach to Common Core, lots of schools purchased lots of devices to accommodate their online testing environments. So now we're seeing an unprecedented ratio of devices to students, and that's really changing what can be done in the classrooms.
So more devices, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, and I'm going to say slightly less yes. It's great to have all these devices. It brings reams of information into the hands of the students, and it makes their ability to find answers so much faster and easier. However, one thing that we need to remember is that all of this, everything that I've mentioned, it all impacts the teacher in a new way. Teachers aren't necessarily technologists. Some of them are. But they aren't paid to be on the bleeding edge of every new consumer-branded idea that comes off the assembly line. They're pedagogical experts. They know their content. They are there to use the tools they have available and make them work to reach their students.
There's that word again. Wait, so what's the problem with all of this? You had me all excited about these changes, but now it sounds like you're backtracking a little.
No, I'm not backtracking. I'm simply trying to point out that far too often the teacher is the overlooked component in this whole equation. Just because a manufacturer can build something doesn't always mean that they should. Just because a school can afford it, it doesn't mean that it's ever going to get used with the students. If the teachers can't figure out how to make it work and how to improve what they're teaching, students will never get to touch the product. It's not about the nouns, it's about the verbs. It's not the product, it's what you can do with the product. I guess what I'm saying is that all of these changes present just as much of an opportunity as they present a problem. How do we get the teachers, who are the ultimate gatekeepers of the classroom, to buy in, accept, and adapt their teaching to truly showcase what they can now do with this new technology?
Oh, that's really a great question, Chris. Now, you were talking about the nouns and the verbs, the teachers figuring out what they can do with the product. Can you expand a little on that?
Yeah, I call it the hardware versus headwear issue. Take what I've been working on here at Staren as an example. I started with a great hardware product, the Novo Pro wireless display and collaboration appliance. This has been around for over a year. The hardware piece of the puzzle was there, but just slamming a box into a classroom doesn't fix any problem. It doesn't make anyone's life easier.
Right.
It has to be used effectively, and teachers have to see how it can change their teaching for the better.
But the Novo Pro already had an education mode on the hardware, right?
Yeah, but lowering the basketball rim doesn't make me Michael Jordan. It's about context. It's about understanding. Well, thank you. It's about understanding what teachers and schools want, and more importantly, need to adopt a new technology into their teaching. I've seen far too many scenarios where schools have bought the latest and greatest to only have that product sit and collect dust. That's what I tend to call an initiative rather than an implementation, and there are a lot of them. As a matter of fact, I learned this in a very personal way. When I became a technology coordinator at my school district, I found in the basement of the school 8 very large unopened boxes, each one containing an interactive whiteboard in them.
Jeez.
Now, this was back in 2000 when these were still really expensive. The woman before me had purchased these, but they literally sat collecting dust because she didn't realize the very core tenet that teachers needed to have a projector to make them work.
No.
Not to mention, even when I added projectors, the teachers still needed training, they needed support, they needed to buy into the concept. There are lots of things we can do in this industry to not just make a transaction, but to assure that the product is being used.
Well, next you're going to tell me that this is where the name Novo Assured came from.
Well, that's exactly where it came from. Starting with a product like the Novo Pro opens up so much for the teacher. This is one of the few times in my career that I can see where technology has outpaced pedagogy. Meaning, the fact that a teacher can now show up to 4 student device screens at the front of the room directly impacts how that teacher will design their lesson, and it changes how the curriculum is taught. I've spoken to several powerful digital educators with me, and I posed that question to them. If you could show 4 displays at the same time, what could you do with that? And none of them had an answer off the top of their head. They all had to think about it.
Wow.
Imagine a math teacher being able to show 4 samples of students' work on long division to be able to discuss with each other where someone went wrong or why they use this method. Or imagine 4 science teachers having simultaneous experiments going on in the classroom, but they're able to see 4 sets of live data being shown at the front of the room. Or a social studies teacher having 4 different types of presentations about the commerce or the farming or agriculture or the artwork of a particular, let's say, the Inca tribe, and being able to see all of those simultaneously. This completely changes and makes available an opportunity for collaboration and discussion that's never been there before. It's using technology to enhance and actually push how I can teach into a whole new direction, and it fundamentally changes the way I design my curriculum. But having the box is not an assurance that I will ever understand it or use it in these ways with my students. I need additional help.
So where does the assurance portion come from?
The assured part of the solution comes from identifying that if we're taking teachers into a new direction, that they do need to be supported. They are the gatekeepers. The hardware and software is just the beginning. So after we look at the functional needs of the product, we decided to look at the personal and professional needs of the teachers. What we found is there are soft elements that could be included to make the barrier to entry and the learning curve as minimal as possible. So in the Novo Assured program, we've also included an online community for all customers to have instant access to all the tips, tricks, tutorials, things like that that they need in an easy to find and easy to digest manner. For example, 2-minute videos or simple step sheets. By providing a website like this, we want to empower the teachers to try new things and not require an increase in IT support needed for the solution. But it would be a waste if that's all we provided in an online community. So we decided to leverage the strength of the masses. These are all teachers that are interested in digital collaboration and what that means. They want that conversation because it helps them become stronger users of the solution, and it pushes their own curriculum design into new directions. So we've added in a lesson plan bank for those new users to get started, as well as a threaded discussion forum for teachers to go and have those conversations broken down by grade level, subject area, perhaps geography I've had some teachers ask about. We want to empower the individuals by giving them the support of the many. That's why we included the Novo Commons as a critical piece of the solution.
That's a great idea. So let me get this straight. You have the hardware, the software, and a community. Now, I certainly understand that that can be helpful and beneficial for teachers, but you mentioned administrators earlier. Now, how does this impact them and assure them of the success?
Well, administrators are the ones that are usually responsible for the purchasing dollars. They want to be able to show that whatever they spent their money on, that their teachers are using that product. Test scores are one way that people have looked at this, but test scores also very rarely correlate to a specific use of a product. It most often associates itself with the way teachers change their teaching to adapt to that product. To help teachers learn how to adjust to using the Novo Assured solution, we continued past the community, and we've also included an online professional development program through a partnership with Purdue University. We wanted to remove that last piece of the puzzle from the administrator's hands and the additional expense that would normally incur with implementing a technology. Let your teachers conduct their professional development when it makes sense for them, without you having to build in release days or pay for outside trainers to come in. The Novo Passport system is designed to provide rigorous training and professional development on how to best utilize all aspects of the solution with collegiate-level PD offerings at no additional cost to the customer.
So you just said at no additional cost. How can you add things like what you've just described and not drive the cost up to the customer?
Well, Stern and Vivitech believe this is such a need in the market right now that we're able to not only expand the offering into so much more than just the hardware, but we've been able to do it for less than the MSRP of the actual box itself.
Wait a minute. What's that you said?
I call it the new math. You can buy the Novo Pro device itself for $799 MSRP, or if you're in K-12, you can buy the entire Novo Assured bundle at $200 less.
That seems pretty counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, but it's the right thing to do. We need to support our education system. We need to support them not just with the right products, but the right solutions, and to take as much of the weight off of their shoulders as we can. We want to assure them that this solution is the right one for them, and we're willing to raise the expectations in doing so. If every company did this, education would be a much nicer place.
And that's absolutely phenomenal. I really like it. So in the last few minutes here, Chris, can you please go over each of the 4 elements of the Novo Assured bundle with us?
Absolutely. To begin with, at the very core is the Novo Pro hardware. This is a wireless video collaboration appliance that you can connect to any device, any projection device or display via HDMI. It allows for up to 4 simultaneous displays to be shown. It can connect wirelessly or wired to your network, can act its own Wi-Fi hotspot, and up to 64 connections can be supported, and IT can actually manage all of these remotely. Then you move into the Novo Teach software. Now, what we've tried to do with this software layer is we've tried to provide the minimum necessary tools that teachers need to be successful. So we give them simple annotation and whiteboarding to be able to attract the student's attention to where it needs to be on a screen. The ability to lock and unlock student devices, as well as seeing what the students are doing. Basic voting and polling, easy wireless file sharing, as well as being able to show up to 4 screens across all 5 major operating systems. So in a blended environment where you have multiple different types of devices, it does work on Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, as well as Google Chromebooks. Then we move into the community, the Novo Commons community. Again, this is designed to be an online resource center, an online support center to help the teachers with lesson plan examples, training, tips, tricks, tutorials, as well as the forum to foster and to push forward that conversation about what digital collaboration can look like. Also on the Commons, it then gives you the Novo Passport Learning Portal. This is in partnership with Purdue University. Collegiate level professional development. The first 5 courses are looking at how to actually utilize the entire system, but we are looking at further development into things such as the flipped classroom, project-based learning, as well as digital collaboration. It's a micro-credential site, so badges are actually awarded from the college faculty to the teachers when they complete certain courses, and this is available as a 1- or 3-year subscription that's included in the Novo Assured Learning Bundle.
Wow. Well, Chris, this has been extremely enlightening.
Yeah,
And
Chris.
whoever can tell us how many times today Chris said the word pedagogical or pedagogy will get a Starbucks gift card.
You'll have to practice that word a little bit.
Or how many times Clay and I mispronounced it.
There's no kidding.
Maybe we should go back to school.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Chris, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, guys.
And make sure you keep Novo Assured in mind every time you're looking for a fully supported classroom solution that's backed up by our partners at Purdue University. This solution is going to build solid relationships in the educational community and, as you've seen, guarantee everybody a very cost-effective and successful adoption for now and for the future. That's the beauty.
So, Neil, it's time to give away a $50 gift card for one of our lucky partners who joined us here today.
I love this part more than misconjugating verbs and words that I've only heard once. Our big winner today is David Turcu. $50 to David. Thanks for joining us today.
And please tell all your friends and coworkers to join us in 2 weeks at the same time, because we'd love you to be the next $50 gift card winner.
That's for sure. And thanks to everybody for giving us your 22 minutes today to learn more about the changes in today's classroom. And please remember to go check out our new Synergy Center website to get all kinds of resource materials to help you with whatever kinds of projects you might be working on. And check back regularly, as we're always adding to our library of videos, white papers, fun stuff, and timely articles on all things AV.
And please join us again on Friday, March the 24th for our next AV Meetup Coffee Break, where we'll look at a brand new technology that, frankly, I can't even tell you about yet.
If we told you, we'd have to kill you.
Oh, Neil, you kill me just about every time we talk. And also, remember that you can go to our website and watch all of our AV Meetup sessions on demand.
Hey, for more information or to set up a demo or even to dive deeper into any of our products with a personalized online workshop, please contact your Starin Business Development Manager directly, or you can always just email all of us here at myteam@starin.biz.
And if you have a classroom opportunity, please call or email Chris, and he'll be happy to get you set up with the Novo Assured program for your educational customers.
Well, our time's up today, and we do promise to address your questions and interests directly. It might even be Clay or Chris who calls or emails you with your answer. So we'll see you again on Friday, March 24th for our next AV Meetup Coffee Break. Have a great weekend, everybody.
So long.